VCF started as a combination of all these tools, but deployment and automation were still evolving in this 2.0, 2.1 and 2.2. Now, when we move slightly forward to version 2.3, we can see some improvements. Here, VMware started adding more automation and introduced components like vRelay automation and vRelay suite lifecycle manager. This was the stage where VCF slowly moving towards a more complete cloud platform. Now the big change comes in version 3.0. Here, VMware replaced VAA with Cloud Builder. This is very important. So instead of older deployment methods, Cloud Builder made the entire bring up process much more structured and automated. So from here, VCF deployment became easier and more reliable. As we move to 3.5 and 3.7, we will notice another major change. VMware moved from NSX-V to NSX-T. This was a big shift because NSX-T is more flexible and supports multi-cloud environments. It is not limited like NSX-V, which was mainly tied to vSphere. So this change was important for hybrid cloud and modern applications. Also, over time, VMware streamlined the components, something like app volumes were removed or made optional, and the focus became more on core infrastructure and automation. So if I simplify the old journey for you, in the beginning, VCF was just integrated multiple VMware products, then it moved towards automation, then came the Cloud Builder, which simplified deployment, and finally NSX-T made it ready for modern cloud and hybrid environments. So VCF didn't come perfect from day one. It evolved step by step to become what we see today, a fully automated cloud-ready platform in VCF 9. Now let's try to explore the next version. We have seen here the VCF version till 3.7, right? Now let's start with the 4.x version.
Hello.
Now let's move to VCF 4.x. So first, let's understand the timeline. VCF 4.0 was introduced around 2020. This is where VMware started the 4.x journey and brought major improvements compared to earlier versions. After that, VCF 4.1 came in October 2020 timeline updates, followed by VCF 4.2 in 2021. These versions mainly focused on improving stability and making operations smoother. Then comes VCF 4.3 released in 2021. This is an important version in the 4.x series because VMware started focusing on more modern applications and platform features. After that, VCF 4.4 was released in 2022, and then VCF 4.5 also in 2022. These versions continued improving performance, stability, and the day-to-day management. So overall, if you see the timeline, VCF 4.0 started the new generation, 4.1 and 4.2 improved the platform, 4.3 added more advanced features, 4.5 and 4.5 refined everything for production use. So now let's try to understand what changed from VCF 3.x to VCF 4.x. So VCF 3.x was already a very good platform for running virtual machines because deployment was easier, automation was there, and infrastructure teams were comfortable managing workloads. So for traditional VM-based workloads, it was working perfectly fine. But during that time, the industry started changing and application teams were no longer asking only for virtual machine. They started moving towards containers and Kubernetes. So VMware needed to improve the platform to support this new requirement. That is the reason VCF 4.x was introduced, and this was not a small change. It was a major shift in how the platform works. So when comparing with the VCF 3.x to 4.x, the first biggest change is Tanzu. Because in VCF 3.x, if someone needed Kubernetes, they had to create virtual machine and then install Kubernetes on top of it, like which added more work and more complexity. But in VCF 4.x, Kubernetes is directly built into the platform using Tanzu. So now a vSphere administrator can manage both virtual machine and containers from the same interface without maintaining separate environments. That is one of the major change in VCF 4.x. Now let's try to explore other major changes in the upcoming slides. The second major change is networking, because in VCF 3.x it was more like a transition phase where both NSX-V and NSX-T were present. But in VCF 4.x, VMware completely moved to NSX-T, which is designed for modern workloads, which supports containers. Then this works across multiple clouds and handles scale environments much better. Okay, because this is going to handle a large enterprise-oriented environment. So networking becomes more flexible and ready for future requirements. That was one of the major change from when we compare from VCF 3.x to VCF 4.x. The third important change is lifecycle management, because in VCF 3.x upgrades were handled but mostly focused on software components. Whereas in VCF 4.x, VMware introduced vSphere Lifecycle Manager, which allows administrators to manage not only software updates but also the firmware and drivers of physical servers. So in real production environments, both hardware and software can be updated together in a single workflow, which saves time and reduces issue, right? So in simple terms, VCF 3.x was mainly designed for virtual machines and traditional workloads, whereas VCF 4.x is designed to support both virtual machines and modern applications with better networking and improved lifecycle management. That is why VCF 4.x is considered a major step forward, because it moves the platform from just virtualization to a complete modern cloud platform. So now let's try to explore the VCF 4.x releases. This is just for knowledge purpose. We are not going to explore, or like we are going to deploy anything on VCF 4.x on this training. I just want to make you aware like what are all the 4.x release versions available. Okay, so that's the reason I'm showing this small demo to you. So this information we took from the KB article. So here you can see what